had an opportunity not to even go to Vermont and make a deal. And God bless them. They feel they did nothing wrong, and they feel that they should stand up and maybe avoid that someone else will have such a problem. Let me just go through this very briefly. Back in August, the Fink family's on a road in Vermont on the way to New Hampshire on vacation. As they are on that road, in the distance, ahead of them, a half a mile ahead of them, they see a police car with lights flashing, right? The police car was on the side of the road. We don't know why that police car was there. Maybe giving a ticket to something, we don't know. But the police car was ahead of them at the side of the road with the lights flashing. When Rabbi Fink approached this car, the state trooper, he did what you're supposed to do in New York and Vermont. You're supposed to move to the left. Exactly what Rabbi Fink did. So here, just think about this, everybody out there. Rabbi Fink sees a police car, state trooper. He moves to the left, what he's supposed to do. And I've said this many times, when we see a police car, in our neighborhood, right behind us, right next to us, in front of us, guess what we do? We slow up, right? Even if we're driving slow, we're driving slow. We're being a little more careful. We're watching out. That's like a natural reaction. So Rabbi Fink moves to the left, and then he goes back to the lane on the right. He then notices that a police car is following him with the flashing lights. Now just understand this. It's 11:30 at night. It's raining outside. It's clear from the video for those who have watched. And Rabbi Fink initially first doesn't even imagine that this state trooper is following him, that this state trooper wants him to stop. He can't imagine what he did. He just passed the police car with the flashing lights. The police car had the flashing lights all the time, not just when he was following Rabbi Fink. So he follows Rabbi Fink, and there's no question when you look at the video, and it takes approximately 4 minutes until he actually stops. He doesn't think the state trooper is following him because, he didn't do anything. He's just driving, and he's not driving fast. The next thing that happens is when he realizes the state trooper, actually, when he shines the bright light at the car, and the Fink family realizes, it's us. The guy wants us to stop, whatever. Even if they can't figure out the reason, doesn't matter. State trooper wants you to stop, you have to stop. Now, if you look at the video in the rain, and I'm trying to be fair, I can understand Rabbi Fink is looking for a place to stop because it looks, you want to stop someplace where the car will be safe, and it looks a little threatening initially in terms of the side of the road. He eventually stops. No question, when you look at the video, it takes really a bunch of minutes. But ladies and gentlemen, when they finally stop, and the yelling that goes on, and Rabbi Fink is out of the car. And by the way, the state trooper easily checked the license plate of this car to make sure that this car was not a stolen car, that everything was kosher. When Rabbi Fink gets out of the car, has no clue as to what's going on. And by the way, if you listen carefully, Rabbi Fink says to the state trooper, he can't figure out, did I do something wrong? He is absolutely what is going on here, okay? They've been driving for 5 hours already. It's still raining outside. And you watched, by the way, the state trooper has his gun drawn. Rabbi Fink gets out of the car. Then the state trooper has the other people get out of the car. The wife, the daughter, the son. Now, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen, don't you think at some point that the state trooper realizes these are not bandits? Doesn't he at some point realize that this is a family, these are not people that have drugs in their car. These are not terrorists. That this is just a regular family on the way to vacation. And that's what the state trooper knows that. He's told that. The rabbi, with absolute respect, such dignity in his conversation with the state trooper and with the police. I mean, you don't see this on the video. By the way, in the video, you don't see the state trooper on the side of the road, flashing lights. Where is that? The state trooper was on the side of the road. You don't see that. You don't see Rabbi Fink and other members of the family face down on the pavement. The officer took them in back where you couldn't record what was going on. Honestly, I ask everyone, if it was you, identical circumstances, identical. It's not a question whether you would have stopped earlier. Maybe on a bright sunny day on the highway, you see what's going on, you stop right away. But clearly there was no intention. I mean, was Rabbi Fink trying to elude? He was trying to escape? Escape from what? For what purpose? It makes no sense to be treated in such a fashion. You know, we support the police. We love the police. We bend over for the police. We give them the benefit of the doubt. But don't you think at some point in this entire incident, that the police officer realized, and the other officers that came on the scene, hey, these are not the people we want to, by the way, they want to arrest them. In the video, we are going to arrest you. We're going to take you to the barracks. You gotta we're taking you into our car. We're going to take, for what? Ladies and gentlemen, for what? If it was you, ladies and gentlemen, if it was you that night, if it wasn't Fink, if it was Schwartz, Moskowitz, or anybody else in the world, same circumstances, what would you think? They want to take him in the police car. And what happens next? Very important. Everything is important in this kind of situation. They get a phone call, allegedly, that there's an emergency call, some kind of domestic violence going on, right? They say to the family, oh, we have a very important phone call. We're going to let you go and just give you the violation. Ladies and gentlemen, how long do the police officers hang around Rabbi Fink? Emergency call. They hang around with him how long? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? 20 minutes? Look at the video. How long, if there's an emergency somewhere else, you'd think they'd be running to deal with domestic violence. There's nothing violent going on with the Fink family, except that they were treated a little violently. But you notice that the police officers are almost in no rush to go to that other call. So it is what it is. Again, you always have to put yourself in the place of the person who's gone through something. That's the way we believe. That's what the Talmud says. You know, you're supposed to think if it was me that night. And that's what I do. I try to not make judgments. If it was me and my wife and my kids in the back of the car traveling, looking forward to a wonderful vacation in New Hampshire, and this happens, is the end of the vacation. It is something you live with for a very long time because you didn't do anything wrong. Surely no intention. If you look at the law, which I have in front of me, and I'm sure the lawyers will point it out tomorrow, in order for there to be eluding, there are certain things that have to be present. And I don't think any of those things are present because it's clear. It is crystal clear that Rabbi Fink, the author of 20 books, he's an author of 20 Sfarim, 20 books. You see the picture of him, you see the fear in their faces, they don't know what hit them. The wife is the principal of a major school in our community, and a daughter and son, a daughter who's under 18. So it was a terrible, terrible night, okay? The police officer initially was nervous, okay. But at some point he realizes, this is not the enemy, ladies and gentlemen. These are not the bad guys. These are just regular American citizens, good people on the way to vacation. At some point he realizes that. So why doesn't all this end? And if he was speeding, which is what is alleged, ladies and gentlemen, where's the speeding ticket? Where's the speeding ticket? There's no speeding ticket. So, I made a decision to, it's not easy. If I was traveling to Israel, I wouldn't have any complaints. Or if I was traveling far away on vacation with my wife, I would have any. But, going to Vermont tonight is not the thing I'm looking forward to. But you know what? You got to do what you got to do. If my standing there with the Fink family tomorrow in court gives them a little bit of chizuk.